Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever experienced a panic attack, you know exactly how terrifying it can be, right? Your heart races, your breathing gets shallow, and this massive wave of intense fear just washes over you, seemingly out of absolutely nowhere. But here is the most empowering truth we're going to uncover today. They often don't actually come out of nowhere. There are warning signs, and much more importantly, there are proven ways to intercept them. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the anatomy of panic attacks, the pre-attack window, immediate panic interruption tools, rewiring the anxious brain, the lifestyle foundation, and finally, building your prevention plan.
All right, Section 1, Anatomy of Panic Attacks. What actually happens in your body? 6 million. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, that is the number of adults in the U.S. experiencing panic disorder every single year. So if you go through this, you are absolutely not alone. Millions of people experience this exact sudden wave of intense fear or discomfort. But what is actually happening physically when this strikes?
Think of it like a mechanical glitch in your system. When anxiety kicks in, your breathing pattern shifts. You start taking these really fast or shallow breaths. This actually causes your carbon dioxide or CO2 levels to literally drop, and that drop creates physical symptoms, things like dizziness, chest tightness, or shortness of breath. And what happens next? Well, your brain misinterprets those physical symptoms as real danger. That triggers even more anxiety, which causes faster breathing, and suddenly you're spiraling. It is a vicious cycle. But, and this is huge, because it's a mechanical cycle, you can physically break it.
Moving on to Section 2, the pre-attack window. This is your golden opportunity to intervene. Now, while the National Institute of Mental Health notes that panic attacks can feel incredibly sudden, the reality is that most people experience what's called a pre-attack window. This is a period of subtle warning signs that happen minutes or sometimes even hours before the full attack develops. This right here, this is your precise moment of power. This is where you have the opportunity to stop the escalation right in its tracks. So what should we be looking out for? There are a variety of early warning signs. They might be physical, like increased muscle tension, slight changes in your heart rate, or feeling restless. But they can also be mental, like racing thoughts, difficulty concentrating, or honestly, just a general lingering sense of unease or dread. Catching these subtle shifts early is your absolute first line of defense. Okay, Section 3, Immediate Panic Interruption Tools. We're talking breathing and grounding techniques here. Let's dive into some tools you can use right in that window. First up is the 4-7-8 breathing technique, developed by Dr. Andrew Weil. It's simple. You inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. You repeat this whole thing 4 to 5 times. Why is this so incredibly effective? Because by holding your breath and extending that exhale, you are actively restoring the CO2 balance that the anxiety disrupted. You are literally sending a biological signal to your nervous system saying, hey, we're safe.
From there, we can sequence right into another immediate tool, the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. You know how when panic starts, you kind of feel disconnected from reality? This technique acts like a mental circuit breaker. It forces you to identify 5 things you can see, touch 4 things, hear 3, smell 2, and taste 1. Research shows this forcibly redirects your brain's attention away from all those internal fear signals and anchors you right back into your external, safe environment. To round out our immediate tools, we have progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR. Panic usually brings a ton of muscle bracing with it. PMR involves intentionally tensing a specific muscle group for 5 seconds, explicitly saying the word relax as you release it, and then really focusing on the difference in how it feels for 10 seconds before moving to the next muscle. Teaching your body to recognize and release early tension like this actually lowers your baseline anxiety over time. Which brings us to Section 4, rewiring the anxious brain. Let's look at some long-term prevention strategies. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a real game changer here. It provides a stark contrast in how we process fear. Instead of letting your brain jump to a catastrophic fear-based thought like, I'm dying, CBT trains you to respond with cold, hard facts. Something like, this is anxiety. It's incredibly uncomfortable, but it is not dangerous. I've experienced this before and I got through it. CBT teaches you to intercept that early anxiety, ask yourself if your thought is based on facts or just fear, and then actively replace it. And the evidence backing this up, it's staggering. 85%. Research demonstrates that 85% of patients respond positively to an average of just 10 to 15 sessions of CBT. It is a highly effective first-line treatment.
Look, it isn't magic. It is quite literally retraining your brain's threat response system so you just don't jump straight to catastrophe anymore. Alongside CBT, we have mindfulness. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry found that an 8-week mindfulness program reduced panic attack frequency by 36%. By simply sitting for 5 minutes and focusing on your breath, just watching the anxiety without fighting it or judging yourself, you create a neurological buffer against panic. You're training your brain to observe those anxious physical sensations without instantly interpreting them as a deadly threat. All right, Section 5, the lifestyle foundation. Please don't overlook the basics. Look, to get to a truly relaxed state, you simply cannot skip the physical essentials. Sleep is absolutely critical. Aim for 7 to 9 hours, because a lack of sleep dramatically increases your vulnerability to anxiety. And caffeine? It's a stimulant that mimics anxiety symptoms. If you're prone to panic, limiting it is completely non-negotiable. Then there's getting light to moderate exercise for about 30 minutes a day to build stress resilience, along with regular stress management like spending time in nature, yoga, or journaling. These aren't just nice-to-haves. They are the literal physical foundation for your mental health. And finally, Section 6, building your prevention plan, making it stick through practice. Because, let's be real, knowledge alone doesn't create change. Consistent practice does. So let's break this down into a totally manageable timeline. Weeks 1 and 2, practice that 4-7-8 breathing daily. And this is crucial. Practice it even when you are completely calm. Weeks 3 and 4, start layering in the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding when you notice early signs. Weeks 5 and 6, add PMR twice a week. And ongoing, keep up your mindfulness and track your triggers. Practicing these tools when you are calm is the absolute key to ensuring they kick in automatically during an actual attack. Before we wrap this up, I really need to highlight some advice from the NIM. Self-help strategies are super powerful, but professional help, it is invaluable. Early treatment significantly improves outcomes. If panic attacks are happening regularly or affecting your daily life, please reach out to a healthcare provider. They can rule out medical causes and tailor a prevention plan just for you. Which brings us to our final thought. The goal here isn't to eliminate all anxiety from your life. That's just unrealistic. The goal is to catch it early, right in that window. So what is the very first step you'll take to catch anxiety early and respond with skill instead of fear? Remember, you have the mechanical tools to interrupt the cycle. You have way more power over your nervous system than you realize. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you put these tools to great use.